Hey guys, so this is my 1952 Singer 201. It was Singer's top-of-the-line domestic sewing machine from that era. A lot of people consider this to be the best domestic sewing machine that Singer ever made. And after using a lot of vintage machines, including a lot of Singers through the whole line, I would have to agree. I think that the 201 and 221, which is the featherweight, and probably the 301 are the three best machines that Singer has ever made. This is a phenomenal straight stitch sewing machine. It's a full rotary hook machine. So rather than say something like the 1591 where the hook oscillates back and forth, this one is gear driven and it spins a full revolution. The hook rotates all the way around as it grabs the thread. So it's a lot smoother, a lot faster, quieter, and all around just a better machine. You can see underneath here that it's gear driven. There's a gear cluster here, gears here, and then it goes straight up to the hook, which is a drop-in style. There's no bobbin case. You just drop the bobbin in straight in through the top. You can drop the feed dogs on this machine via this knob here. So you loosen this knob, lower the feed dogs, and lock it in place. So you can do free motion embroidery, which is pretty convenient. And this is actually a really good machine for that. Part of the reason is it's got a really high arm, so you have a lot of clearance underneath, but you also have a lot of clearance to the right of the presser foot. This is the most pretty much of any machine that you're going to see from this era. A huge amount of space between the needle and the pillar there. Actually, let me grab a ruler and I can measure it for you guys so you can see it's 8 inches from the pillar to the needle, so a lot of room. It has a light on the front, which isn't very common for these machines. They're typically on the back. The Singer 221 has it in the front as well. So you actually have better illumination from the front than the back, and it's got a little switch here on the side to operate that. It has a gear-driven motor, also known as the potted motor. So you can see it mounts directly to the machine, and there are no belts, so it's all gear-driven. This machine, I actually totally rebuilt it. So it has brand new cabling, brand new wiring to the foot controller. So this is all brand new, the cord. And it has brand new wiring, totally rebuilt motor. So these motors are notorious for the wiring going bad. You'll see it all the time on these vintage machines. The direct drive Singers are awesome, but the wiring degrades really quickly, and they need to be rewired. Not only did I rewire it, but I polished the commutator, I undercut all the mica, which is the insulation on the commutator, cleaned everything out. I blowtorched the brushes to remove all the oils. Basically everything you would do to refurbish the motor, short of rewinding the coils, I did. So this thing is ready to go. You are not going to see any machine on Craigslist, and maybe just a couple on eBay that have been actually totally rebuilt. So that's the real value in this machine, is it's been totally rebuilt. You're not going to find a motor like that. And we were actually going to keep this machine, and I actually stripped it. So we have two 201s. You can see the other one over there. In terms of domestics, we're keeping 2 machines, and then we're getting rid of all of the other ones. In terms of the ones we use, we're going to keep a couple decorative ones just for display around the house. But the 2 machines that we're keeping, and I've used a lot, you can go through my videos, Neckies, Pfaffs, Adlers, a whole line of them. And the 2 machines that we're keeping for straight stitching, we're keeping the 201. I like this machine better for straight stitching. To me, this is the best straight stitch sewing machine I've ever used. The other machine that we're keeping is a domestic Pfaff 130, which is zigzag capable. And that machine's very fast, and there's a lot of great things about it, but it also falls short compared to the Singer 201 in a lot of ways. The visibility underneath the this whole area, this has increased visibility. This machine actually feeds better than the stock FAF 130. It has a narrower presser foot, so this is only 1/8 of an inch on to the right of the toe. I think it's 1/4 of an inch to the left, so you can get really close to material. I just like it all around better for straight stitching. If I'm going to do straight stitching, this is the machine that I go to, and if I need zigzag, then I'll go and use the FAF 130. But the reason why it's stripped down black is we were actually going to decal this machine in the Tiffany or gingerbread decaling from the early 20th century. This is a common decaling that they used on like the Singer 127, 115, the 1530, and there are a handful of others out there that had the decaling. We actually ended up finding a Singer 115 with that same decaling. You can see it in another one of the videos. So we're going to use that as a display machine, and to be honest, this machine is really, the fact that I invested the time to rebuild the motor, it's really meant to be used. And I thought it was silly to have this as a display piece with that new decaling when it's in such phenomenal shape. So I've decided to pass it on to an owner that will be able to actually use it and use it regularly and really appreciate a lot of the work that's gone into it and appreciate the function behind this machine. It's phenomenal. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about it, and I'm just going to sew a few scraps so you can see what it's capable of. It's really a versatile machine, so it can sew everything from really lightweight linen, silks, whatever, really easily, all the way up to like vinyl material. I'll show you in a second. So it's a really capable machine. You can find videos on YouTube of guys sewing through yardsticks and sewing through really thick vegetable tan leather. This is not what this machine was designed for. I wouldn't recommend abusing, and I don't want it to go to somebody who's going to abuse it like that. Stick to canvas and cottons and stuff. Don't put the thick leather through it. Soft leather, garment weight leather, sure, but there's no reason to burn out the motor or jam something up, damage the machine trying to sew through really heavy duty leather. So let me just sew. I'm going to keep the light off. You can see the light works, but let me zoom in so you can see the stitch that gets formed with this machine. So it has an adjustable stitch length from basically infinitely adjustable up from 6 stitches per inch infinitely down to 0. So okay, so let's get started. So you can see here it's on a longer stitch length. And you can see how well it navigates through those the curve, the turn here. It's because of that narrow presser foot. It allows you to really pivot the material easily because you don't have a broad surface area from all these rows of feed dogs. So here I'll shorten the stitch length. You can see it has forward. That's full speed. Reverse, forward again. It really is an awesome machine. So that's 2 layers. It'll do 4, but I'm not going to really show you like what it's capable of in terms of how thick a material it can sew here. I'll show it on the vinyl, but I can kind of hear my bobbins getting low. But yeah, so it's super smooth, very fast, very controllable, a lot of controllable speed. And you can see the stitch that it forms is really nice, really consistent, and the machine feeds well. This is some vinyl, marine grade upholstery vinyl. Let's triple it up to 3 layers, which is pretty thick. I mean, in real life, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could use this machine for upholstery, and we actually have, I gifted one of these machines to my mom. So she has a Singer 201, and we actually upholstered some cushions using her Singer 201, and she was really happy with the result. Here, my thread just dropped down. Okay, so you can see it feeds along, no problem. Very smooth. Go and revert. Oh, Go in reverse, go forward. But you can, what really is impressive on this thing, one is the feeding capability, but the stitch formation is just so good on these. You can't beat this. It's a combination of really consistent feeding through these feed dogs. The small surface area of this upper foot basically minimizes the friction that you would encounter on a wider foot. So the material feeds smoothly, and also the needle plate, it's just a small hole here. So the material is supported very close to the needle hole. So you don't get the material being pulled down into the underneath the needle plate like you would on a zigzag machine. And just broad range of adjustability on the tension dials. Overall, this is just excellent. Definitely, if you can't tell, definitely one of my favorites. If you want to do the decaling, if you don't like the stealth black look, I like it, but and you can see the reflection here. The finish is very clean. You can apply new decaling, and you don't necessarily have to go with the vintage 201 decaling. You can put any machine decaling. They're readily available on eBay. You're talking $13 on up, depending on what you want, but very inexpensive. You can put brand new, make this look like a brand new machine. I mean, you'll see in the photos in the listing how good it looks. All the chromed parts look really clean. Functionally, it's perfect. It's phenomenal. Rebuilt motor. I'll include 5 of these metal steel bobbins, which are a lot better than the plastic ones that you would pick up at, say, something like at a Joann's or something. And brand new foot, and then some Schmetz German needles that I have. So it's got a brand new bobbin tire too on the bobbin winder, so you'll be good to go on this machine. It's really it's ready to work. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, and I'm happy to answer them. This is 1952 Singer 201. Thanks.